Elon Musk and Justine Musk's union initially appeared to be the foundation of a lasting partnership. A visionary entrepreneur and a budding author, they were building a shared future, blessed with 5 children, considerable wealth, and a lifestyle many would covet. However, beneath the surface, their relationship was experiencing significant strain. Justine felt increasingly unheard, unacknowledged, and emotionally neglected. She clung to the hope that circumstances would improve, but then, unexpectedly, a message arrived that brought her world to a standstill. Elon was engaged to another, with no prior discussion or warning, only a curt, factual text. And that was not the worst of it. There was one final event that prompted Justine to permanently depart. What was this pivotal moment, and where is she now? Stay tuned, as this account is truly astonishing, but first, let's examine the couple's life before the discord. Their relationship commenced in the 1990s when they met at Queen's University in Ontario, Canada. Justine, an English literature enthusiast, was deeply invested in writing, storytelling, and literary pursuits. Elon, even then displaying the characteristic intensity that would later define him, was captivated by innovation, problem-solving, and the pathways to success. Their initial encounter was not marked by immediate romantic sparks. Justine recalled Elon's confident approach, inviting her for ice cream, an invitation she declined, perceiving it as a casual gesture. Yet Elon, even in those early days, was not one to accept rejection easily. He later appeared at her dormitory bearing 2 melting ice cream cones, unwilling to concede. His persistence was endearing, but it also served as an early indication of the resolute and uncompromising nature that would come to define their dynamic. While Justine admired Elon's intellect and ambition, she found his social interactions to be somewhat rigid and mechanical. He was direct, occasionally lacking the warmth of spontaneity, but his self-assurance was undeniably magnetic. He possessed a vision for the future that was grand and expansive, and in many ways, it was impossible not to be drawn into his sphere of influence. After a period of intermittent dating, the couple reconnected when Elon relocated to Silicon Valley. His business endeavors, including Zip2 and subsequently PayPal, were beginning to gain significant momentum. Concurrently, Justine was pursuing her own aspirations, diligently working on her inaugural novel. Despite their differing perspectives, they shared a common belief in achieving success, in overcoming limitations, and in forging their own destinies. Their connection seemed unassailable, at least for a time. In January of the year 2000, Elon and Justine exchanged marriage vows, embarking on a new phase of their lives as husband and wife. The early years of their marriage were characterized by optimism and enthusiasm as they established their life together in California. However, even within those initial stages, signs of tension began to emerge. Elon, driven by a focus on efficiency and tangible results, often approached life, including their marital relationship, as a strategic undertaking. He placed a high value on discipline, control, and forward momentum. Justine, conversely, championed passion, creativity, and emotional depth. She desired a partnership built on mutual equality, whereas Elon viewed relationships through a lens of hierarchy. She later recounted instances where she felt marginalized, relegated to a subordinate role rather than being an equal partner. Elon, the man who would go on to build rockets and electric vehicles, possessed a mind that operated at a perpetual high speed. He expected a similar degree of structure and adherence in his personal life. In a particularly revealing moment, he reportedly told Justine, "If you were my employee, I would fire you." One of the earliest manifestations of control in their marriage surfaced when Elon declared, "I am the alpha in this relationship." Though she initially dismissed his words, they gradually became a reality. Justine felt increasingly diminished, struggling to find her place within Elon's world. She later revealed that when she attempted to assert herself, Elon would remind her that he would have dismissed her if she were an employee. In the year 2002, the couple welcomed their first child, a son named Nevada Alexander. For a brief period, their world was suffused with unadulterated happiness, but their joy was tragically shattered when, at merely 10 weeks old, Nevada passed away from sudden infant death syndrome. This loss devastated Justine, who grieved profoundly, struggling to comprehend the unimaginable sorrow of losing a child. Elon, however, true to his nature, compartmentalized his emotions. He refused to dwell on his grief, choosing instead to immerse himself in his work. When Justine attempted to discuss their shared loss, Elon shut down the conversation, stating he had no desire to talk about it. This emotional divergence became a defining rift in their marriage. Justine needed to articulate her sorrow and process the tragedy, while Elon perceived emotions as impediments to progress. His coping mechanism was to move forward without retrospection. For Justine, however, the silence surrounding their loss only intensified her feelings of isolation. Determined to expand their family, the couple pursued in vitro fertilization. In the year 2004, they welcomed twins, Griffin and Vivian. 2 years later, triplets Kai, Saxon, and Damien were born. With 5 young children, their home should have been filled with warmth and affection, yet Justine felt increasingly sidelined. She found herself overwhelmed by the responsibilities of raising 5 children while simultaneously striving to retain her own identity. Elon's relentless work ethic meant he was often absent, preoccupied with his burgeoning empire rather than their family. When he was present, he expected efficiency and order. Justine felt more like an appendage to his life than a partner. The imbalance in their marriage became undeniable. Elon had a clear vision of the wife he desired, someone who would seamlessly integrate into his structured, high-performance existence. He once told Justine, "I am the alpha in this relationship." For him, it was a factual statement. For her, it was the stark realization that she had completely lost herself. By the year 2008, the fissures in Elon Musk and Justine Musk's marriage had widened into unbridgeable chasms. What had begun as a love story between 2 bright, ambitious individuals had devolved into a conflict marked by emotional detachment, power struggles, and unmet needs. Justine had long felt like a secondary character in Elon's grand narrative, but even she could not have anticipated the abrupt manner in which their marriage would conclude. One day, without any prelude, Elon sent her a text message that shattered any lingering illusions of reconciliation. He informed her, in no uncertain terms, that he was engaged to someone else. There was no discussion, no prior intimation, merely a cold, factual declaration that their life together had officially ended. And the most astonishing aspect was that he had already moved on, not merely emotionally, but legally and romantically, to another. To observers, Elon and Justine possessed a life that most could only dream of. They were affluent, they had 5 children, and Elon was at the forefront of some of the world's most exciting enterprises. However, behind closed doors, their marriage had transformed into a contest for power and autonomy, a dynamic in which Justine felt increasingly voiceless. Elon's approach to relationships mirrored his business strategy: ruthless, efficient, and results-oriented. He believed in a structured, disciplined lifestyle, a principle that extended to their marriage. While Justine yearned for emotional depth and equality, Elon viewed the relationship as a hierarchy. She had initially been his intellectual peer, a woman with her own aspirations, but over the years, she felt herself receding into the background. She was now Elon Musk's wife, not Justine Musk, the writer, the thinker, the dreamer. Yet, despite the emotional chasm between them, Justine had never imagined that Elon would abandon the mother of his children so abruptly, only to propose to someone else without even informing her beforehand. The divorce proceedings swiftly escalated into a contentious legal battle, primarily centered on the financial agreement Justine had signed years earlier. Early in their marriage, Elon had persuaded her to sign a post-nuptial agreement, assuring her at the time that it was not a prenuptial contract. Justine believed then that divorce was an impossibility for them, so she signed it without significant concern. However, once the divorce became final, she grasped the full ramifications of her signature. The post-nuptial agreement substantially curtailed her financial claims, leaving her with a fraction of what she felt she was rightfully owed. By then, Elon's wealth had surged to over $100 million, yet Justine found herself in a struggle simply to secure a fair settlement for herself and their children. Justine mounted a defense, arguing that the agreement was invalid due to a lack of complete financial disclosure. Her legal team contended that Elon's escalating wealth, particularly following the PayPal sale, had not been adequately revealed when the contract was executed, suggesting potential misrepresentation of his financial standing, which could render the contract fraudulent. Elon, conversely, maintained his position, asserting that Justine had signed the agreement voluntarily and that it should be upheld. The legal dispute protracted for 2 years, with Justine resolute in challenging the agreement. After an extended period of legal maneuvering, the court ruled in Elon's favor, affirming the post-nuptial agreement. However, the judge acknowledged the case's complexity and certified it for appeal, implying the legal contest was not necessarily concluded. Despite the loss in the financial case, Justine focused on securing a stable future for their offspring. The divorce settlement included shared custody of their 5 sons, ensuring their continued presence in both parents' lives. Most divorces involving high-profile individuals are conducted discreetly through private settlements and confidential agreements, but Justine refused to remain in the shadows. She was determined not to be merely another ex-wife of a billionaire. She had her own narrative to share. In a raw and candid essay published in Marie Claire, she detailed her experiences. Justine, formerly Mrs. Elon Musk, provided a candid account of her marriage's disintegration, refraining from any embellishments. She detailed the emotional neglect, the power imbalances, and the erosion of her self-identity under Elon's influence. A particularly striking aspect of her narrative was her description of their financial disparity. Despite being wed to one of the world's most affluent individuals, Justine never experienced genuine financial autonomy. Elon exerted control over their assets, their expenditures, and, by extension, her capacity to depart. She recounted the contentious divorce proceedings, where she felt compelled to advocate for an equitable settlement, not out of greed, but from a desire for recognition as an equal partner in their shared life. Justine's essay offered a stark portrayal of life with a man like Elon Musk, brilliant and driven, yet emotionally distant. While her words resonated with many, they also cast Elon in a light that caused some discomfort. For all his technological advancements and celestial aspirations, Elon Musk had faltered in a fundamental human endeavor: marital partnership. Perhaps the most startling revelation in Justine's account was not the divorce itself, but the identity of Elon's new partner. Elon's fiancée was Tula Riley, a British actress who was 14 years his junior. Their meeting at a London club sparked an immediate connection. While Justine was still grappling with the dissolution of her marriage, Elon was already immersed in a whirlwind romance with a woman in her early 20s. To Justine, this wasn't merely about Elon moving on, it signified a replacement. Elon sought not just a new relationship, but a different model of a wife, someone younger, unburdened by years of emotional neglect. Tula possessed beauty, intelligence, and her own form of ambition, but lacked the experience of navigating a marriage to a man like Elon. Having already felt sidelined in her own marriage, Justine perceived Tula as the next in line, destined to learn the realities of being within Elon Musk's orbit. The swiftness of Elon's remarriage demonstrated his approach to life, always looking ahead, never dwelling on the past. Following their divorce, Justine embarked on a journey of self-reinvention. She faced a crucial decision: allow the experience to define her or reclaim her identity. She chose the latter. Returning to her writing, she published novels that explored profound emotional themes and the resilience of the human spirit. She also became an advocate for women in high-profile marriages, using her platform to emphasize the importance of preserving one's sense of self within relationships. Despite the pain of the divorce, Justine expressed gratitude for the lessons learned, asserting that leaving Elon had, in a way, restored something she had lost: her independence. Tula Riley was an emerging talent in the British film industry when she encountered Elon Musk in 2008. Her roles in films such as Pride and Prejudice and St. Trinian's had established her as a promising young actress. In contrast to Justine, who had been Musk's intellectual peer during his formative struggles, Tula met him when he was already a billionaire, no longer the nascent entrepreneur striving to establish Tesla and SpaceX, but a dominant force in the technology sector, recognized globally. Their introduction occurred in a London nightclub, an unlikely venue for someone as reclusive and work-focused as Musk. At the time, he was still finalizing his divorce from Justine, but this did not deter him from pursuing a new connection. Tula later described Elon as intensely captivating, unlike anyone she had previously encountered. He swept her off her feet with characteristic Musk swiftness, determination, and relentlessness. He flew her to Los Angeles, where she was introduced to his world of private jets, multi-billion-dollar enterprises, and ambitious space exploration dreams. Despite being 14 years his junior, Tula quickly became integrated into his life. By 2010, a mere 2 years after their meeting, they exchanged vows in an opulent ceremony. While the wedding was extravagant, for Elon, romance was not about fairy tales, but about stability. Tula appeared to bring a sense of calm to his tumultuous existence, a quality he had struggled to find after the breakdown of his first marriage. For a period, it seemed Elon had rediscovered happiness. Tula embraced the role of stepmother to his 5 children and adapted to his demanding lifestyle. However, as Justine had foreshadowed, Musk's intense work ethic left minimal space for personal connections. He would vanish for days, consumed by his endeavors at Tesla and SpaceX, expecting Tula to accept his absences without protest. By 2012, their marriage began to unravel. Tula felt increasingly isolated, confined to a life where she was expected to adhere to Elon's routines and accommodate his unwavering work-first philosophy. Then, in a manner eerily reminiscent of his dissolution of his marriage to Justine, Elon abruptly informed Tula that his affections had waned. Shortly thereafter, he initiated divorce proceedings. Their second marriage, an attempt at a do-over, proved unsuccessful. Less than 18 months after their divorce, Musk experienced a change of heart, recognizing what he perceived as a mistake, and re-established contact with Tula. Against considerable odds, she agreed to a second chance. By July 2013, they were married for the second time. To observers, it was perplexing why he would remarry the same person after their initial union had failed. Some speculated that Elon had difficulty letting go. His life was built on controlling outcomes, and he likely viewed his failed marriage as a problem to be rectified, akin to an engineering challenge. Tula, for her part, must have believed in the possibility of transformation, in the notion that this time would be different. For a time, they made a concerted effort to adjust. Musk endeavored to be more present, and Tula supported his professional pursuits. They were seen together at public events, and for a fleeting moment, it appeared they had found a way to coexist within Elon's high-octane world. However, before long, the same issues that had plagued their initial marriage resurfaced. Elon's all-consuming work schedule once again superseded their relationship. He became emotionally detached, dedicating more time to SpaceX and Tesla than to his home life. Tula found herself frequently alone, feeling as though she were married to a man who prioritized rockets over romance. Despite their second attempt at marriage, the same emotional distance and imbalance persisted. By 2016, after 3 years of renewed effort, Tula finally reached her breaking point. This time, she was the one to file for divorce. The separation was amicable, with Musk agreeing to another multi-million-dollar settlement. Unlike their initial separation, it was evident that this time their parting was final. If Tula represented a stabilizing influence in Musk's life, then Amber Heard was his polar opposite. Following his second and final divorce from Tula Riley in late 2016, Musk swiftly moved on to the Hollywood actress, plunging into one of the most tumultuous and controversial relationships of his life. Amber Heard, fresh from her highly publicized and tumultuous separation from Johnny Depp, seemed to introduce a new dimension of chaos into Musk's world. Their relationship was rapid and intense, marked by grand romantic gestures interspersed with frequent arguments and emotional turmoil. Musk had long harbored a fascination with Amber, reportedly pursuing her for years before their relationship officially began. When they finally connected, their relationship became a spectacle, with paparazzi documenting their every move. However, despite their intense chemistry, the cracks in their foundation soon became apparent. Their time together was a series of highs and lows, passionate encounters followed by painful disputes. Ultimately, after numerous instances of breaking up and reconciling, their relationship reached its conclusion. This chapter in Musk's life proved to be as tumultuous as his preceding relationships, if not more so. What went awry, and why did Elon, a man renowned for his intellect and strategic acumen, find himself entangled in such a volatile romance? Following his separation from Tula Riley, Musk found himself drawn to actress Amber Heard. Their relationship, which became public in 2016, had been developing for years. Musk reportedly became interested in Heard in 2012, while she was still married to Johnny Depp. He pursued her persistently, sending messages and arranging meetings through mutual acquaintances. However, at that time, no serious developments occurred. When Heard's highly publicized divorce from Depp concluded in 2016, Musk saw an opportunity to finally initiate a relationship with her. The couple was first observed together in Miami and subsequently in Australia, confirming the circulating rumors. By early 2017, they had officially gone public, attending events together and sharing affectionate moments on social media. Musk and Heard's relationship was passionate yet turbulent. Musk, known for his tendency to become deeply invested in his relationships, was reportedly smitten with Heard, showering her with lavish gifts, including extravagant trips and financial support when needed. However, their personalities clashed, and their relationship devolved into a cycle of intense romance followed by heated arguments. By August 2017, their whirlwind affair had come to an end. Sources close to the couple cited their demanding schedules and incompatible lifestyles as the primary reasons for their separation. Musk expressed his heartbreak, revealing in an interview that he had been deeply in love and that the breakup had affected him profoundly. Despite their initial separation, the couple rekindled their relationship later that year, attempting to give their love another chance. However, their fundamental differences persisted, and by early 2018, they had broken up permanently. Musk later acknowledged that while he still cared for Heard, their relationship had proven too challenging to sustain. Following his tumultuous relationship with Amber Heard, Musk took a brief hiatus from dating before entering into one of the most unconventional relationships of his life with Canadian musician and experimental artist Grimes, whose real name is Claire Boucher. Their relationship commenced in an unconventional manner. Musk discovered Grimes's work while researching artificial intelligence and became captivated by her music and artistic vision. They reportedly connected over an obscure joke concerning Rocco's Basilisk, an AI thought experiment, which prompted Musk to reach out to her. Their online conversation quickly evolved into something more profound. Their romance became public when they attended the 2018 Met Gala together, surprising the world with their unexpected pairing. Grimes, known for her avant-garde music and artistic eccentricities, seemed an unlikely match for the billionaire entrepreneur. However, they bonded over their shared enthusiasm for technology, futurism, and intellectual discourse. Unlike Musk's previous relationships, which were largely rooted in traditional romance, his connection with Grimes possessed a surreal quality. They were frequently observed engaging in deep discussions about artificial intelligence, space exploration, and the future of humanity. Grimes described Musk as a brilliant yet eccentric figure, and their relationship embodied this duality. In May 2020, they welcomed their first child, a son named XEA12 Musk, a name that immediately garnered widespread attention. While many struggled with the pronunciation, Musk and Grimes explained it as a combination of AI references and a tribute to a reconnaissance aircraft. The unconventional name reflected their shared vision for the future and their willingness to defy convention. Despite their strong intellectual bond, their relationship faced significant challenges. Musk's demanding work schedule, coupled with Grimes's own artistic pursuits, created strain. By September 2021, Musk confirmed their partial separation, though their romantic relationship had officially concluded by March 2022. Grimes later described their relationship as fluid, stating they still loved each other but had different priorities. She emphasized that they remained best friends and were committed to co-parenting their children. While the world was still focused on Musk's unconventional relationship with Grimes, shocking news emerged in mid-2022. It was revealed that Musk had secretly fathered twins with Siobhan Zilis, an executive at his company Neuralink. Zilis, a highly respected artificial intelligence expert, had collaborated closely with Musk for years as a leading Neuralink executive, playing a crucial role in the company's ambitious objective of integrating AI with the human brain. Their professional relationship eventually evolved into a more personal one, and in November 2021, Zilis gave birth to Musk's twins, just weeks before his second child with Grimes was born via surrogate. The news of Musk's relationship with Zilis surprised many, as there had been no public indication of a romantic involvement. It also raised questions regarding workplace dynamics, given her senior executive position at one of his companies. Despite the controversy, Musk and Zilis have maintained a respectful and private co-parenting relationship. Unlike his previous relationships, this one has remained largely out of the public eye. Zilis continues her work at Neuralink, and Musk has remained actively involved in their children's lives. Shortly after the revelations concerning his twins with Siobhan Zilis, Musk was linked to Australian actress Natasha Bassett. The couple was seen together in early 2022, sparking speculation about a new romance. Bassett, a rising star in Hollywood, had recently gained attention for her role in Elvis, a biopic about the legendary singer. Reports suggested that she and Musk had been dating quietly for some time, but their relationship was never officially confirmed. Their romance appeared to be short-lived, as Musk was soon observed dating other women. It seemed that Bassett represented a brief chapter in Musk's ever-evolving romantic life. Despite the acrimonious divorce, Justine and Elon maintain a co-parenting relationship for the sake of their children, although they no longer communicate directly. Their interactions are managed through Elon's assistant to coordinate their parental responsibilities. Justine has since stated that she harbors no ill will toward Elon. She acknowledges that he may not have been the ideal partner for her, but she still recognizes his brilliance and ambition. Over the years, she has processed any lingering resentment, accepting that their marriage was a significant chapter in her life that ultimately led her to her current circumstances. Today, Justine resides in Los Angeles, raising their 5 sons while continuing her writing career. She has authored several novels and cultivated a life that is entirely her own.